Climate change is transforming our oceans, impacting the lives of fishers, and threatening the sustainability of small-scale fisheries. Extreme weather events are becoming more frequent, highlighting the urgent need for adaptive solutions and effective management plans to safeguard the sector. Today, we speak with PhD Elena Ojea to explore the climate change adaptive solutions for small-scale fisheries. Let's dive in.
Good morning, Elena. Thank you so much for being here and for collaborating with the FARCLIMATE project. FARCLIMATE's primary goal is to achieve the resilience of the primary sector in the actual context of climate change. Elena Ojea is the lead researcher of the Future Ocean Lab Group in the CIM and the University of Vigo in Spain, and she's one of the top scientific contributors to the topic of the effects of climate change in small-scale fisheries. So, Elena, it is time to suggest that mitigation measures are not enough to ensure the sustainability of the fisheries sector nowadays, especially this sector which is very linked to the environment and how it changes. So it is time to think on adaptation. From your point of view, would you like to propose and encourage fishers to adopt measures to adapt to climate change?
Yes, there's a need to adapt fisheries to climate change. Actually, there's still an opportunity window open for adaptation. However, it's important to say that mitigation needs to be more effective and we need more mitigation in order to adaptation to succeed and be efficient. So adaptation is needed, but mitigation is very important for adaptation to succeed. That being said, about fishers and how they should adapt, I think fishers need to be aware, and we need to send this message to make them aware of the impacts that they are already facing are going to continue, or maybe they're going to even be worse over the next years. But it is the institutions, the ones that need to do the higher effort in adaptation. Fishers may be able to change target species or to diversify livelihoods, but these are not solutions for the whole small-scale fisheries sector. These are solutions for some fishers, but we will see a transformation in the system. And we need adaptation of the management systems, the institutional settings for fisheries that take into account climate change impacts and allow the fishers to do an adaptation that does not lead to detrimental outcomes to them, what we call maladaptation. For example, we need institutions to make adaptive management real based on scientific evidence and the impacts of climate change that we know from models, but also from monitoring our systems. We need to incorporate that into management. We need to have early warning systems for the sector to avoid the higher risks at sea, marine heat waves, storms, and many extreme events that we know are going to increase in frequency and intensity over the next years. We also need to adapt the management system in the sense that we now have permits and quotas that are not taking into account climate change and the changes in species productivity and the changes in species distribution. So we may have fishers that have rights over a space. For example, shellfish women may have rights over a space, but they are losing their target species and they cannot move to other places or they cannot access other type of permits to diversify their target species. So that's why the evidence points that the choices that a fisher has for adaptation are constrained by the management system. So it is at the institutional level that we need to do an effort for adapting small-scale fisheries.
Okay, so adaptation starts by management.
Yes. For example, we are seeing that fishers are engaging in new technologies for fishing. They are also changing gear, changing target species, sometimes targeting invasive species. They are also organizing themselves in different ways. It is very important to have fisheries organization to make decisions and making decisions over management more participatory. And we know that this is helping fighting the impacts of climate change. So these are things that fishers can do. But as I said, we need strong support from the institutions to allow these changes and not maladaptation. In this case, maladaptation examples that we see in small-scale fisheries. Maladaptation happens when fishers start targeting species and maybe too much and overexploit some species because of climate change impacts in other species. So this would be a maladaptation if you increase effort and you go over quotas or you have more illegal fishing. These are sometimes responses that fishers do because they don't have any other option. So it's also important to identify what are these responses that we don't want in a system to make it to be sustainable.
Okay, thank you, Lena.
Adaptation is essential for the future of small-scale fisheries, but mitigation measures are equally critical for long-term success. Together, with the support of governments and the implementation of early warning systems, we can build sustainable and resilient fisheries. Join the FARCLIMATE project to foster sustainable change and build a greener future. Visit FARCLIMATE website to learn more and take action today.